Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Software Testing. Still Daniel. Hi, how are you today? Today I would like to talk about session-based testing, and what this is all about you will find out in that video. As always, leave a like to support me, leave a subscription, share it with your network to support me. That would be really cool. Hey, before we start with the main video, I would like to thank you the following companies for their support. They support me through the YouTube membership program that I created for companies who care about software testing and are active in supporting the testing community. Thank you once again. If you want to learn more about the supporters, check the video description down below to find the links to their products. If you miss your logo on this page, follow the QR code or send me an email. Happy testing, and now back to the main video. So let's talk about session-based testing today. It was on my list for, the very first moment I started that YouTube channel, and finally I found the time to create a few slides and to explain you what session-based testing is all about and why this is so powerful for us as software testers. So let's take a look. First of all, what is session-based testing? Session-based testing is a structured and time-based testing technique. Yeah, so time-based is important here and structured is important. It is best suited for exploratory testing. If you hear people talking about exploratory testing, sometimes they have the feeling saying, okay, exploratory testing, it's exploring something, no structured way, just clicking around, tapping around here and there, and that's it. But no, that's not true. Check out my exploratory testing video that I've done before. Session-based testing gives you a good structured way of exploring your product for a different goal. Yeah, and it's important, as I mentioned before, it's uninterrupted testing time with a specific time frame, and that's important. Before you start with session-based testing, you make up your mind how long you would like to test, and in that time frame that you defined yourself, it's uninterrupted time. Switch off all the communications, all computers as far as it can get for testing purposes, of course. Remove the smart devices next to you so you don't get any distractions. It's super lightweight planning of test sessions. You can see that in a second, so it's easy. You can just have like 10 minutes preparation, and then you can do half an hour, 1 hour of testing. It supports creativity of your testing activities. That's the good thing about session-based testing, because you define something in the beginning that you would like to focus on from a testing point of view. And then if you find something during the testing activities that there's something wrong or feels odd, you can just quickly adapt your session and go that way, make notes, and then share them on later on or follow up later basis. Session sheets provide structure, and I will show you a session sheet example in a few seconds. So they give you guidance and help you structure the way of testing it. And that's it. So what are components of session-based testing? First of all, the mission. So the mission defines the purpose and the time. So what you would like to do? What's the purpose of it and how long you would like to test? Then you have the so-called charter. Charter defines the goal of the session. The goal can be, I would like to test some functionality, I would like to do some non-functional testing, and so forth. We'll come to an example in a second. Then we have the session. The session itself is this uninterrupted time for testing. Nothing else to add, right? Then once the session is over, you will provide a session report. And the report will find all the findings, or contains all the findings. And with findings, I don't mean only like bugs or issues, anything that feels broken or was broken, but also your feelings, for example. How did it feel to use the product? Was it odd? Was it like slow in terms of using it, especially for a mobile device and stuff? So completely write down everything that you have felt during the test session. Is really important information for the team. Then you have a debriefing session with stakeholders, and stakeholders can be your product manager, can be your team, can be really stakeholders outside of your company, depending on your context. You can do a debriefing session. Usually if you do session-based testing within an Agile software development team, the debriefing happens between product management, designers, interaction designers, or developers. And last but not least, you have results. So you have an aggregated report of the session, and with that, then you can go ahead and create bug tickets, write some issues, change the documentation, adapt the workflow, adapt the current product development phases, depending on what were the findings. Yeah? But important is that you aggregate everything and send it out as in a transparent report for the stakeholders. So how does a session sheet look like? As I said, we have the mission. It helps to focus. We have the charter, goal or agenda of the session. Then we have the session itself to explore the product with focus on the charter that you just defined before. And that was meant before, was talking about, it gives you guidance and structured, focused way of things. Yeah? And I have some examples. Then we have the session report, contains all the findings, your feelings, the bugs, the issues. You have the debriefing, and last but not least, you have the results, the bug tickets. And the cool thing about such a session sheet, you can create your own template in your favorite tool. It can be a mind mapping tool. It can be a tool like Miro, for example, where you can do like really big session sheets, also in a really creative way, depending on your context, depending on how many people are going to attend your session test, your test session, for example. And then session sheets and session-based testing are really perfect because you give each individual people or person in that test session a specific mission and charter for that session. And then he or she can really focus on the things that you prepared and then go ahead and test. When I was doing test sessions in different teams, I was preparing everything for the complete team. I had, like, depending on how many people were attending, let's say 10 session sheets, 10 different missions, 10 different charters, and also even prepared the test data, the users, everything was prepared. So the people just came in, sat down, got the device, the test environment, and they could start testing and find things. And that was usually really cool. So let's take a look at the training example. So we have the mission sheet the session sheet over here. So first, what can be a mission? So what we are testing. It can be a question like, what are we really testing? What problems are we looking for, right? So really, what are the things that we would like to improve? Is it usability? Is it performance? Or is it just the functionality? And then, of course, give some context in the time frame. So what is the charter, for example? Focus on the login page. It's really specific so that everybody should go on the login page and test there. Or a bit more broader can be, let's do complete functional testing of our application. And then, depending on the section and the session, the people can focus only on functional. But as I would recommend to be as precise as possible, of course not too narrow and not too precise, but to give some boundaries where people can go left and right and then see how something feels or not. Then, of course, the sessions, you have the findings 1 to n, like depending on what you've written down, and then you create a session report. Yeah. So what has been tested, overview of the finding, additional notes like your feelings, your impressions, maybe you have some suggestions or you found workarounds. So everything can be in the session report. Then, of course, debriefing. This is hard to give an example, like share the session report with the team and then discuss your findings, make them transparent, give your honest feedback on the things that you have found. And then, last but not least, you create bug tickets, you have documentations, findings and so forth, improvements, process improvements, things that you would always like to address. And as I mentioned before, I mean, this is, of course, not a total precise session sheet. Maybe I can do another video on, you give me an example, for example, and I do the session sheet testing or the session-based testing, use a session sheet, and then based on your input, I can create and fill out a session sheet. Let me know what you think about it. But it's super easy, as you can see. Just create a little tiny template, think about session-based testing, think about your charter, your mission, and use that knowledge prepared for your team and do test sessions together and see the big benefits you get out of it, to be sure that it's going to happen. So a quick summary of session-based testing. So as you can see, session-based testing is not really complex, yeah, but it helps you to structure exploratory testing. It gives you guidance, and also other people guidance. And I think it's especially important for people with less testing knowledge to give them more guidance, to help them to focus on some testing areas, especially working with teams that are not let's say not senior enough in terms of testing, or the developers, they have never done any testing before. It helps a lot to give guidance. And yeah, and last but not least, I mean, you have seen how easy it is. Go out and try it yourself and see if it's helpful for you, your team, and your product. And leave it down below in the feedback section, in the comments about session-based testing. Also, if you use your favorite search engine, your favorite browser, search for session-based testing. There are lots and lots of tutorials out there, as well as blog posts that describe session-based testing. And but it's so lightweight and so easy to use in everyone's setup. I would say just give it a try, and also share it in the comments below with us, with the community, to see how helpful it was for you, and maybe we can learn something from you as well. And that's it today. Almost 10 minutes in the video already. And as always, leave feedback, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscription to support me, share it with your network. And it was great that you have been here today. See you soon. Bye bye.